Congratulations on merge, James or Minty. How do you feel about that?
Uh, just the merge in general. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't very. I wouldn't say it was very surprising that I made the merge. I kind of just no offense to anybody else, bulldozed my way into the merge. It's really like the game kind of starts now at this point.
Was there ever a point that you thought that it could have been you pre-merge, or were you pretty confident that merge was going to be a start for you?
Closest it could have been was that 3-3 draw at Rocks, but I knew that even Ethan had my back in that vote, so I knew I was safe. So really, I felt pretty safe.
Nice. Just starting right off the bat, you have been with East Coast pretty much the whole time. Is going into merge, does it feel like East Coast is who you're going to be sticking with, or do you have other plans? Because of the tribe swaps that we've implemented this season, there's been a lot of potential for you to meet different people and interact with different people. What are your plans going into, like, what's the alliance you feel comfortable with? Who do you trust the most? Obviously Eve, and that's been talked about. What's going through Minty's mind?
All right. Well, right now, obviously, I was closest with Eve and Ethan. Sadly, Ethan did get voted out. He got idled out. But right now, the core alliance seems to be me, Eve, Harland, and Sienna right now, and that's four. Then we're kind of deciding right now what we want to do, whether we go with Dawson, Maya, and Stella and vote out Liv, or we go with Liv, Grace, and Max and vote out Dawson. It's kind of, we're up in the air right now. Obviously, there's idols that could be played, and we're really deciding, us four are deciding what's the best move for our future in this game and for us to make the Final Four together.
So if you had to decide right now, like twist in the game, all right, you, Minty, have to decide for your core four alliance which side you're going with. What is the gut reaction?
I'm going with Dawson's side.
Okay, to get out, Liv or Grace?
Yeah, I would take out Liv Grace mainly because obviously me and Dawson had a bit of a rivalry on the first tribe swap. It was a little bit back and forth, a lot of mind games for sure. But we've talked it out a bit. Obviously he's hiding stuff from me. I'm hiding stuff from him. I expect that at this point. But I know Liv is trying to gun for me in some way, shape, or form, and she hasn't told me that she's doing it at all. She hasn't even really thrown in a little truth towards me because I've heard from a few sources that she wants me gone, and I feel like that's the best move for me right now.
Okay. We're going to shift a little bit because first thing I wake up to this morning is you finding the idol, which, I love effort being put into doing it. You said you were up till 3. You got how Dawson found his idol. It helped you find this one. What was the thought process, the discovery of it, everything going about finding that idol?
So the first day we got our idol clues for our tribe, I was really kind of lost. Looked up so many hidden meanings, looked up the meaning of every single tribe name, and I was on for a couple hours and had no clue. Gave up for a couple of days. It was only until I talked with Dawson the day before the second swap where he said, "Oh, I found it because George Orwell's book came out XYZ," and I looked up all of the survivors that were born that year, and it led me to Woo, so I found it. And I'm like, all right, interesting. And it never really clicked in my head for the Chernobyl hint that I got. I was on a call with Grace probably at like midnight because we were just discussing strategy. And I immediately thought, as I was about to end the call, I was like, oh my God, I haven't, I'll call you back. I might have a clue to the idol or something like that, just because I trust Grace a little bit more than I trust Liv right now. So immediately I went, searched up, it was 1986 that Chernobyl happened, and went all the way down the list and eventually found the idol under Sierra's post.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got there eventually.
Which is super impressive, and I am proud of you. Just for clarification, George Orwell's book was called 1984, so it was not the year that it was released; it was the actual book itself.
Okay.
Which is, it's the same idea, it's
Close
the same
enough.
concept. Yeah, and so now a new one's released, and after I'm done with this, I'm sure you're going to go hunting for it. We have an auction tonight. A lot can happen. What would you say are the guaranteed outcomes with tonight's vote? Because usually there are sides, and since you're in the middle, who are the two people that could go home?
Well, right now, I planted a seed in Dawson's head that Grace has an idol. So Dawson, I think, fully believes that Grace is an idol, so he's scared that she could play it for herself or Liv. So I'm kind of deciding whether it can be Liv or Grace tonight. And on top of that, I can also go for a blindside on Dawson. It's really one of the three right now. I'm always worrisome of myself. I could always play the idol if I wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary for tonight. Mainly the reason because as the game started, when it was East versus West originally, Liv came to me immediately and said, Dawson looks like a player. Dawson looks like this big strategy guy, and immediately just called him out. And she was right. She was 100% right. And I know for a fact she will never work with Dawson. Liv
Yeah,
and Dawson will never work together, so I could blindside the other one of them, and they'll still end up working with me by the end of
that's interesting, and it kind of puts you in a good spot for the future of the game. So, because you and Eve have participated in something together, you hosted and she played. Did you did you find the idol and tell her, or are you keeping that from her at this point?
it. I told her very early on because I actually told her by the end of the first day that I kind of lied to her about that. Um, Mainly because I was still scared. I had a little bit of mistrust in her that there was an all girls alliance on the East Coast side. So I thought I'd tell her. She's just gonna tell the girls. But yeah, I told her I had a fake idol at the beginning, and now I actually have an idol. So I don't need to tell her I lied at first and then have an idol. So I mean, it'll come out eventually. But
Yeah.
Eve is the only that knows I have an idol pretty much.
All right. And you trust her enough at this point?
I would think so. Yes.
Would she be the number one person you trust, or or is there not a number one? Are you kind of good being a solo player, or do you have a partner?
No, no, yeah, yeah. I feel like 99% of the time, in order to win Survivor, you have to trust somebody, right? Yeah, you can't be a
I
Russell Hands and try to play everybody. Uh, yeah, I mean, I do trust Eve with pretty much everything. I trust Harland to an extent. He's played a lot of games. He's won a lot of games before, so that's kind of worrying. And I trust Sienna a little bit. So I mean, every one of the core four alliance that we have right now, I trust in some way, shape, or form.
Nice. Well, there's a lot of lines to walk in this game, whether it is the line of West versus East, whether it's the line of idols versus no idols. One line, and it's been talked about, and it's different than Virtual Survivor Season 1, is the line of guy versus girl. Coming into the merge, you are at a minority of 4 guys versus 6 girls. Is that something that scares you, or do you think it's pretty non existent and people are playing aside from gender?
I thought at the beginning in the East, I thought there could have been a guy versus girl thing. Uh, it ended up being the case. I mean, it was the 4 girls and myself on the East Coast that kind of were going to run everything. And I mean, I think every alliance is guys and girls. I don't think there's a vote that's a 6-4 vote, all guys voting one girl and all girls voting one guy. I don't think for the rest of the game, pretty much it's going to happen because there's girls that like the guys and guys that like the girls. It's not, straight down the middle like that.
But it's always worth asking, especially when there is a diversity between the two and a number
Mm.
difference. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for what this game has to come. Are you going to go all in on the immunity challenge? Or I know that a common strategy that I have seen on Survivor is holding off on the first one to not appear strong. Or are you comfortable going into it trying to be safe?
All right. So I've actually thought about this a lot. It really does depend on the challenge. If I feel like I can do well in it, then I'll try my best. If I don't feel like I can do well and I'm just going to push myself to like end up in like third or fourth in the challenge, then I feel like there's no need. But there's been a few people talking to each other, and I feel like most of the cast recognizes who like the big threats are, right, in this game. So me and Dawson do recognize as our own meat shields at this point. And Liv is also, to an extent, with Grace, another meat shield. And I feel like the 4 of us right now are the biggest threats. So either the 4 of us have to try on this immunity challenge to, keep ourselves safe in the game, or all of us don't try and try to keep a low profile going further into the game.
It's
Uh,
hard to get
but
everyone on the same page.
it goes back to the last tribal immunity challenge, where it ended up being this hour and 45-minute, almost 2-hour process where I ended up completely. I mean, I should have gotten it a lot sooner, but I ended up getting it by the end of it, and I feel like that put a little bit of pressure on me, just because people are just like, "Oh, he solved a hard puzzle." So, I
Yeah,
mean, we'll see what happens.
that's super fair. There's a lot left of the game to play, and as you and I have discussed before about, this is a fast-paced game. We start and finish in just over a week. We're going to be finishing in a few days. I mean, you could even say it by the first, and it's the 27th right now. So it's going to go quick. After today, there's going to be a lot of double challenges and double tribals where, if you're not on top of it, you might be on the bottom of the game, or it might help you out. Who knows? But there's a lot left to play. I personally really appreciate you playing. When we were casting every day, when casting, when we kind of winded down for the day, we would cast people. Then you signed up later and instantly replaced somebody. We wanted you. You're still here. You've been proving your spot, and I'm really grateful for the work that you've put into the season. So I thank you for that.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah. Before I finish it off, and thank you again, is there anything about your game that you want to talk about before we finish off?
Uh, Anything I want to talk about my game? Dawson's going home by my hand, and that's the only way he's gonna go home. That's how I'm gonna leave it off.
All right. Well, I'm excited for that, and we are going to see what happens tonight. We have an auction. We have, an idol hunt underway potentially. Who knows what activeness will bring there? I mean, I know that you're interested in it. So yeah, there we go. Thank you, Minty.
All right.
See you later.
Yeah. See you. Have fun with the rest of these.
I appreciate only 3 more.
Yeah. All right.